Joe, it is that time of year where everybody is starting to think about their New Year's resolutions. They're planning for Q1. Everybody's saying, this is what we're going to do in 2026. This is how I'm going to do it. And now all their plans are in place. But what a lot of people don't do is they don't talk about what they're going to leave in 2025 or in the year prior because things don't always work. Even if you bring them into the new year, maybe you just need to leave them in the past. So I thought we'd talk about a few of those today.
Yeah, and the world changes too. So something that was working last year or maybe worked in 2020 stopped working somewhere in mid 2025 or something. It's like you just don't, you just, everything changes and you
We
have to
always
be
talk
ready for
about
that.
2020 as the example. Like,
Yeah.
nope. What happened in
So,
2020?
so many things worked before 2020.
Exactly. But if you don't mind, I want to kick things off with something just as the marketer. I feel like I need to say this. You need leave creating content without strategy in 2025. I feel like trends is such a can you see my air quotes? There we go. They're on screen.
I see
Trends
them.
is such a popular or such a buzzword now because it's like, oh, let's do the latest TikTok trend. Let's do the latest YouTube trend. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's like people are doing marketing because they think they need to be doing that kind of marketing, even if it doesn't serve their business. And so I just want to say in 2026, make sure you have a strategy around all of the content you're creating, around all the marketing that you're doing, and know your audience. Let like what is right for you drive your business and marketing decisions, not what is right for everybody in the world. Joe, and you have a sub point, I think, that you wanted to add to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think it's never a good idea to create content without a strategy, whether that's blogs, podcasts, social media posts, because it just, if you, I mentioned this before, I went um, number one on Google search for shopping in the future because I wrote a comedic article on our last company's blog about shopping in the 22nd century. And it was all foolishness. I was just having fun. And it was like the number one hit on Google for well over a year, but did nothing for our business. And so you can do all these things, work hard, but if it's not strategic to driving people to you that want to buy from you, want to do business with you, it's a waste of time. So you're right on there. The other thing that's changed in 2025 is that if you were creating content for Google to try to rank in search, it's always been tough for solopreneurs because the big guys are out there cranking out content with a staff, but it's gotten worse than ever for everybody because of zero click search, the AI search results that just give you the answer and you don't do any clicking. So create your content for the humans that you want to serve, right? I mean, that's just really because if you can drive them to it using social media posts or other ways, but that's really what's going to serve you better than trying to get just put keywords that people search on because it's probably not going to buy you anything.
The one caveat I'm going to have with that, Joe, is if you are a local business,
Absolutely.
still need to focus on local content because people, if they're looking for restaurants in the area, they're still going to need to find those search results, the Google listings, the address, all of that. So if you're a local business, still create for your audience, but keep those best practices for local SEO in mind as well.
But to think about the thing I said about competition, if you're local, the competition is so much smaller, right? If you've got a local business, you have a lot better chance. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Definitely focus on showing up in Google if you are a local business.
Yep. But moral of the story, stop doing things because you think you should and start doing things because they work for your business and your audience.
Right.
That's all I was saying. Okay. What's number 2, Joe?
Number 2 is stop obsessing over passive income scams.
But that's
Oh,
so lovely. Doesn't that just sound so lovely
oh
to
yeah.
money
Just
without doing anything?
yeah, you
And
just you create your course content or you crank out your app and put it out there on Product Hunt or Gumroad, and the next thing you're sipping cocktails for the rest of your life. Sounds good. Not going to happen. It probably
it
never
happens.
did.
Really, which is why people think
Well,
it.
yeah. People win the lottery, people become rock stars, but it's more that's more hope than a strategy, you know. So yeah, don't fall for that stuff. I mean, it's just the kind of thing that's going to take your energy. You're going to waste your time. Find the people that have good ideas, and that's not to say, we talked a little bit about jumping on trends and things, and not overdoing that. But there are things that are changing, and there are people out there that can help you to say, this is. I always come back. We always come back to Jay Schwedelson, right? Here's what's working in email this month, because people are reacting to the email inbox and they get sick of seeing the same thing. So you got to do something fresh to get their attention. So those are the kinds of trends you really do want to look at. And so there are people out there that can help you understand those things, to learn those things. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the person that says, hey, go through my $2,300 program and you'll put together a course or whatever, and then you'll just collect money and you won't have to do anything.
Yeah, I want to reiterate that we're saying avoid the scams and that like get rich quick messaging. If you write a book and you're getting money from it, like that's passive income, but you had to write a book to get that. Like money is coming in later. If you create courses, great. That's income that you could be getting without necessarily like working one-on-one with people and can be passive income. But you still have to do support. You still have to chat with people. You still have to set up the course. You can absolutely create passive income for yourself so that you're not doing one-on-one consulting or coaching or whatever. We're just talking about the scams and the get rich quick schemes. Like, we're not saying don't do passive income, because if you can productize services, by all means, productize your services.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So it just more work goes into it, I think, than people think when they do that. Sorry, that was my clarification.
That's a good point, though. Absolutely.
Well,
Next.
so yeah, okay. So let's see. Number 3. Oh, stop comparing yourself to other people. Everybody is starting in a different place. Some people they may be switching careers entirely and industries entirely and have to learn something new. Other people are just taking their existing skill set. Like, let's say they work for a marketing agency and now they're going off on their own to marketing. They already have the skill set. People have started years before you. People have different backgrounds. Do not compare your first chapter to somebody's 20th chapter. I just think it's so important to focus on what's important, focus on your audience, but also if you're going to compare yourself to anybody, compare yourself to yourself. And maybe look back 90 days ago and say, okay, where was I then and where am I now? And that's the kind of comparison you can have. Make sure that you are moving forward in your business, not that the Joe Rando next to you is moving forward. So that's me. That's right.
Ouch.
I had to throw in the rando.
Yeah. So I think that, in line with that is, don't try to copy someone else either, right? If you are starting a business and somebody else is successful in something similar, I'm not saying don't steal good ideas. I think everybody should steal good ideas, but don't just copy somebody because they seem to be doing well. Because if you're not building the business that's true to you, you're probably not going to do as well as they are if they built a business true to them. So, take the good ideas, find those things that resonate, but don't try to just copy and paste somebody else onto somebody else's business onto you. You'll probably be unhappy with the result.
Yep, I agree. All right, Joe. So I think the next thing that's important is to stop managing every task yourself. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Flying solo business doesn't mean you're alone. It's my favorite saying. But there's no reason to be doing everything by yourself from a few ways. Joe, I will talk about outsourcing. You have so many different options for contractors, freelancers, other people that you can collaborate with that aren't employees to help you get this stuff done. I'm a contractor for Lifestar. I do work with Joe all like every day, but I am a contractor, and that's how we're running this company. I am not an employee of Joe's. So just know that like you can have collaborators and other people helping you get things off the ground without hiring them. So definitely lean in to that. But Joe, AI and automation, like is your
Yeah,
jam.
I mean, there are so many things that you can do now using, well, the automation tools have been there for a long time and they're great. With AI, it's even better. And I mean, the AI can either do things for you or make it easier for you to figure out how to implement the automation stuff. But if you're sending out emails because somebody you know clicked on filled out a form on your website, that shouldn't be happening. You really should be automating that kind of stuff. And there's so many other things you could be automating. It depends on your business, obviously. The AI agents are coming into their own now, where they'll actually go out and do things for you as opposed to just create content. So there's just a lot of ways that you can do less work and get more done than ever before. And if you're missing out on that, then you're really missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Joe, take us home. We have one more that we want to talk about
Yeah,
today.
which one is that? I'm lost on my list here.
Stop saying yes to every project or every client. The point of being a one person business owner in our eyes is to take back your life, take back control of your time. It doesn't mean you're not going to necessarily work less than you did in corporate America, but you get to live life the way you want as a solopreneur. So, do you want to say yes to nagging clients, to industries that you don't aren't passionate about, to projects that may pay a little bit but will stress you out and take time away from your family? You are in the driver's seat now. Start saying no. The power of no is huge.
I want to double down on this because it is so important in any business. I mean, I've started startups with, not lots of, but, a number of employees. And regardless, you need to focus on doing the things that you're good at and you can be efficient at, right? So, somebody might come along and say, hey, I want you to do this. And it's not what you do. Well, that's going to be hard for you. It's going to take your focus away. You're going to be losing your rhythm. Even if it sounds interesting or fun, it still might not be a good idea for your business. And I have a saying, when you take on a special client, somebody that's treated that's different from all your other clients, special clients quickly become problem clients, even if they're good and reasonable people, because it's not what you're doing. So I just really want to double down on this. If it's not in your core business, especially as a solopreneur, don't do it. Just say thanks for the offer, but I can't help you, and let them find somebody else.
Absolutely. Well, listeners, that is all we have for you today. Something that you should totally bring into 2026, unless you do it in 2025, is leave us a 5-star review. We would love that. We'd also love it if you would share this episode with a friend, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. It means the world to us. And we'll see you next week on The Aspiring Solopreneur.